The Hidden Architecture of Civilization, Episode 3, Universities and Controlled Dissent. Universities are often portrayed as bastions of free thought, yet the history of higher education tells a different story, one of subtle shaping, channeling, and containment. After the Prussian model of regimented education spread across Europe and the Americas, universities became the next frontier for shaping thought. Ostensibly centers for knowledge, debate, and discovery, these institutions were also tools for managing dissent, consolidating elite influence, and controlling historical narratives. The world students encountered in lecture halls and libraries was carefully curated. Moors, Tartaria, Aztlan, Atlantis, and advanced indigenous civilizations were minimized, misrepresented, or hidden entirely. Funding and oversight often came from the same networks that structured Prussian schools, financiers, dynasties, and secret societies with long memories of advanced civilizations. By controlling professorships, research grants, and publication platforms, these networks dictated which knowledge could flourish and which had to vanish. Scholars who studied suppressed histories, Mesoamerican societies, global intermixing, or Tartarian innovations were marginalized, ridiculed, or denied visibility. Even when forbidden knowledge did survive, it was fragmented and weaponized. Esoteric schools, mystical orders, and networks from lost civilizations preserved fragments of ancient science, astronomy, and navigation, but access was tightly restricted. Universities became gatekeepers, teaching only what fit the elite narrative while offering the illusion of intellectual freedom. Occasionally, student movements arose, seemingly challenging authority. Yet these movements were often anticipated, monitored, and subtly guided to reinforce existing systems. Ideals of liberalism, socialism, or rebellion were sometimes permitted, but only within boundaries that preserved hierarchy. Independent thought existed in a managed sandbox. Small critiques were allowed, but questioning the curated history of civilization remained forbidden. Students were trained to focus on national histories, European philosophies, and sanitized timelines. The interconnected legacies of Moors, Tartarian empires, Olmecs, and indigenous civilizations were dismissed as myths. Even geography was structured to support linear isolationist narratives. By controlling the lens of knowledge, universities produced generations of citizens and scholars who unconsciously reinforced hierarchy. The omission of global intermixing had profound consequences. Phenotypic diversity, dark skin among Europeans and indigenous people, Mongolian features, or Mediterranean traits in the Americas was ignored or explained away as anomaly. Linguistic parallels, architectural similarities, and shared technologies across continents were seldom studied as evidence of ancient contact. Students absorbed fragmented timelines, unaware that Tartarian maps, Moorish scholarship, and indigenous traditions revealed a far more interconnected past. Universities codified not only knowledge, but obedience and perception. Textbooks normalized hierarchy, reinforced racialized narratives, and erased alternate interpretations of human achievements. The psychological conditioning from early Prussian schools was amplified. Critical thought was encouraged only within limits defined by elite networks. Students became participants in a system that educated and constrained, reproducing narratives and biases for future generations. Survivors of lost civilizations, Aztlan, Atlantis, Tartaria, the Moors, and advanced indigenous societies left knowledge that could empower humanity, yet elite networks fragmented and co-opted it, preserving only what supported control. Universities and student movements became containment systems. Curiosity was allowed, discovery confined, generations internalized curated worldviews without realizing their origins. The consequences of civilization. By the 19th and 20th centuries, this design had produced populations unaware of the true global currents of civilization. Intermixing, migration, and advanced societies were absent from curricula. Humanity grew up believing history was a linear and Eurocentric, while ruins and myths were dismissed. The architecture of thought was engineered to obscure the deeper interconnected story of our shared past. From universities to libraries, the currents of lost civilizations were contained, fragmented, and repurposed. The next episode will examine how modern systems, digital media, algorithms, and the global information infrastructure continue this control, shaping perception and thought on a planetary scale.